Okay, good afternoon. My name is David Bekele. I am director of the African Regional Bureau of the Internet Society. The Internet Society is a non-for-profit organization that is around the world. It has 6 regional bureaus, including one in Africa. It has more than 100 chapters around the world, 31 of them here in Africa, and more than 70,000 members around the world. I have a presentation. I was told I had 40 minutes, so now I have to make it very, very fast, so I will start now. Okay. So I am asked to talk about how we can shape the future of the internet in Africa. For that, I will talk first about the state of internet in Africa, then the opportunity that exists in the internet for Africa, the challenges, and what we can do to have a brighter future before concluding. So I will pass on that. Let's go back to before 2000. In fact, we had less than 2% mobile penetration, and only South Africa and Egypt had internet. In fact, in 91, South Africa had internet, and 93, Egypt had internet, but are somewhat interconnected. International connectivity, international bandwidth increased 20-fold, and terrestrial networks doubled from 2009 to 2014. With regard to the internet bandwidth, in Africa it was less than 2% of the total traffic, international traffic, but today it is in fact, in 2011 it was 2%. Today it is more than 10%. Okay, I will pass on mobile because you know that mobile has become very important in Africa, and most Africans access internet through mobile. Inter-regional internet bandwidth, as you can see here, we are still very far from the rest of the world because these are the bandwidth pipes, if I may say, and the African one is relatively small compared to the rest of the world. And most of the connections the traffic goes to Europe, and there is very little still within Africa. So the Internet of Opportunity, here, unfortunately, I cannot go through it in detail, but Internet contributes to 1.1% of the GDP of Africa compared to 2.7% for the developed world. And some countries like Sweden, the ICT contributes Internet, in fact, contributes as to 6.3% of their GDP, which means there is a lot of opportunity to use the Internet for our GDP, and there is a major economic opportunity for Africa. Social opportunity, education is a major issue in Africa. We are here in South Africa where, as you might have heard in the newspapers, there are a lot of issues around the cost of education, access to education, and the internet can increase the reach, the access, and the quality of education at a low price. Inclusion of disadvantaged communities. There are many examples that show that people from remote areas, women, sideline communities, like, for example, people with handicap, can get work opportunities thanks to the internet. Political opportunities. Africa has had many political issues in the past, and in fact, many believe that if we are poor today, it's because we have been looted by some of our leaders, and the internet can really bring more democracy because it allows citizens to participate fully in the governance of their countries. And the internet makes despotism, corruption, injustice more difficult to happen today. So, challenges. There is disparity of access within the continent, but also within the countries. For example, if we see I showed the top countries. Now, if we see the bottom countries, they have internet access that are as low as 1%. Such as, for example, countries like Burundi, Niger, even my country, Ethiopia, are among the lowest the countries with low penetration. Cost of access, access is still not affordable for many Africans. In Europe, less than 2%, someone has to pay only 2% or less of his income to access the internet. In Africa, in some countries, it can go as much as 60% of income, which is, of course, not affordable. The quality of access, we have issues with interruptions due to lack of redundancy, vandalism, and unfortunately, increasingly, government shutdowns. Bandwidths, we have issues with last mile and content hosted outside the continent, which makes access to the content quite expensive. Trust, we did some survey last year with the African Union, and the policymakers told us that security is their most important concern. And personal data protection is another concern. Businesses and governments feel that they are vulnerable, and parents feel that their children are vulnerable towards internet security. Governance, as Mr. Echeverria said this morning, we have achieved a major milestone with the IANA oversight transition. This is good, but we still as Africans need to be more involved in global forums, which is not the case currently. There is also the need to have a strong multi-stakeholder governance at local as well as regional level, which is something that we need to work on. So, to come to the main point of my presentation, how can we work for a brighter future for the internet? I showed you that map. It is impressive compared to what it was a few years back. However, you can see that there are holes. If we go closer, in fact, some of the connections don't cross borders. And this has to be improved. We must have a really integrated Africa. We should connect our backbones. And for this, there is a lot of work to be done at the African Union level so that countries work together to bridge that gap, but also bilaterally between countries. We need to have more IXPs. As Commissioner Ibrahim indicated this morning, the African Union worked on implementing internet exchange points around Africa, and I am very happy to say that the Internet Society worked with the African Union on the Access project, which I believe was a very, very important project for Africa. We have to promote local African content and applications. And we have to make sure that the content is hosted in Africa. Otherwise, we will continue to have the scenario that we have today, where our content, we always access content from elsewhere, which means we are really paying international companies to access our own content, which is something that should not continue. And we should have meaningful access. The access should change the lives of the people. It's not access for the sake of access. It is access to change education. It's access to create jobs. It's access to solve our social issues, etc. And we have some things to do before we achieve that. With regards to trust, I think we have a long way to go. We are just starting to realize that trust is a major problem, but we need to implement the solutions, and the solutions can only be collaborative. We need to foster confidence and protect opportunities by having collective responsibility. It is not possible for anyone, government, private sector, or anyone, to have a solution by himself. And we have to make sure that we protect fundamental protections and values of the internet. We cannot increase trust and kill the internet. It is important that the internet stays what it is today, a medium of opportunity. And we have to work on its evolution and in a consensus manner. And something very important, we have to think globally, which is why these kind of forums are very important, but the action is local. So we have to act locally. The Internet Society came with what we call the trust framework, where there are 4 components that I'm not going to go through, but they are user trust, trusted network, technologies for trust, and trustworthy ecosystem. Governance, we have to improve our institutions. That we already have some. I have mentioned them here: AFNIC, AFNOG, AFTLD, Internet Society, APC, NIC, NICs around the countries, CERTs, etc. But we have also to increase our presence in international governance forums, including ICANN. Quickly, to conclude, the internet has already transformed Africa. The Africa of today is not at all the Africa of 2000. However, there is much more benefit that Africa can get from the internet. And we all have responsibilities to shape it so that Africa reaps the benefits of the internet. As we have been saying at the Internet Society for some time, Africa needs the internet as much as the internet needs Africa. Thank you.